Hello YouTube, my name is Nero. Today we have some more Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, and this video is going to be an in-depth look at the new S-Tac Aggressor sniper rifle, commonly referred to as the second coming of the intervention or the MSR, depending on who you ask. I should preface this with two things. Number one, I don't actually have access to this weapon, but a subscriber of mine, Dramatic Replays, does have access to it. He actually got it from a supply drop where I did not, and he allowed me to play with him in a private match with him and test out the weapon properly. Also, number two, Marvel 4's page over on the Dan Curtis site has been updated to give us all of the stats and information regarding all of the new weapons that were recently added to Modern Warfare Remastered. So, big ups to both of these guys. Links to both Marvel 4 as well as Dramatic Replays down there in the video description. So let's start things off here with the damage. So the damage multipliers on the S-Tac Aggressor are identical to the Barrett 50 cal and the R700. A quick rundown for people that don't know how sniper damage works. Each sniper in Modern Warfare Remastered does 70 damage per bullet. This damage is then multiplied based on where you hit your target. And to illustrate this, meet Nate the Nazi. I put this together for you guys to give you guys like a visual representation. So the 50 cal, the R700, and the S-Tac Aggressor all have a 1.5 damage multiplier to the head, neck, and upper chest. And this is actually why you can get one-hit kills to those areas, even if you're not using stopping power, because 70 base damage times 1.5 is more than 100, and each player only has 100 health. So the S-Tac Aggressor's damage is fantastic and made even better with stopping power, which of course increases your base damage by 40%. So you will be rewarded with consistent one-shot kills with this gun if you are accurate. If you're used to the 50 cal, if you're used to the R700, same exact damage. It's stronger than the M40A3. The S-Tac also, however, does have a damage quirk similar to the M40A3 in that if you equip an ACOG sight, the base damage goes from 70 to 75, making this gun an absolute freaking monster. So as I said, your base damage is now 75. Stopping power increases your base damage by 40%. You combine both of them, each bullet does more than 100 damage. This means if you're facing a non-Juggernaut user while using stopping power on an ACOG S-Tac Aggressor, you can shoot them in the toe and get a one-shot kill. Keep in mind, this is not exclusive to the S-Tac. This is the exact same quirk that the M40A3 has. The M40 has this exact same thing going on. An ACOG M40 can one-shot anybody in the toe as long as they don't have Juggernaut on, and of course if they're using stopping power. The fire rate on the S-Tac Aggressor is the slowest of all the bolt action snipers in this game. So the M40A3 and the R700 both fire at 65 rounds per minute, while the Aggressor fires at only 57 rounds per minute. That may not sound like a lot, 8 rounds per minute, but it's actually very noticeable, especially if you're used to using the M40A3 or the R700. You get a feel for that time between shots, and so using this gun initially, it's going to feel off-putting, but eventually you'll get used to it. And I should note, you can alleviate this a little bit by spamming YY while shooting, which causes this goofy rapid fire effect. It should be noted, I suppose, that pretty much every gun in Modern Warfare Remastered can do this by spamming Y while shooting, but this gun for some reason seems to shoot very quickly. This could be good for like no-scope spamming a target up close if you play Claw, or if you have a modded controller like a Scuff or something like that that allows you to aim and YY and shoot all at the same time. But for your traditional player who plays a traditional way, there's no real practical use to this, but it's kind of just like a fun quirk to point out anyway. Reloading the S-Tac Aggressor is a bit different than the rest of the bolt action snipers in this game. For starters, it has a 7-round magazine by default, which is incredible, therefore means it also has more base starting ammo than the rest of the bolt actions in the game. But also, to reload this gun, you need to reload the entire thing, whereas with the M40 or the R700, you can reload individual rounds. The reload time on the S-Tac versus the other bolt actions are pretty comparable, but the inability to reload one shot at a time as compared to doing the entire thing seems like a slight disadvantage to the S-Tac, at least in my opinion. The idle sway on the S-Tac is in line with the rest of the snipers in the game, except for the R700, because if you guys don't know, the R700 has much more idle sway than any other sniper. The view kick on the S-Tac is actually slightly more than the M40A3, so it's got a bit more recoil, but it's not as bad as the R700. It's pretty close to the R700, like almost identical, but it's slightly better. fires slightly less kick than the R700. It also has a faster center speed than all of the other bolt actions in the game. This is the speed, for those that don't know, in which your reticle goes from its recoiled position back down to its centered position, which is definitely a quirk in favor of the S-Tac Aggressor. Now, pretty much everything else about this weapon is standard across the board and in line with all of the other sniper rifles. To quickly summarize this gun, same damage as the 50 cal in the R700, same ACOG damage bonus as the M40A3, 7-round magazine by default that comes with more starting ammo than any other bolt action, slowest fire rate of any bolt action in the game, reloading requires a full reload instead of individual rounds. Those are basically the quirks of this weapon. Now, of course, people are always going to try to compare this gun to the Intervention or the MSR and try and do a comparison, but I looked at the stats, guys. It honestly comes down to what you see, right? Aesthetically, I think it's very easy to say this gun is a mix of both the Intervention and the MSR, and the reason why is when they come out with these DLC guns, Call of Duty typically makes up their own weapon, so they don't have to pay royalties to use the real gun's likeness, and that's basically what they've done here. They've given us a combination of the MSR and the Intervention, and if you look at the statistics of the MSR, the Intervention, and the S-Tac Aggressor, you're going to find that these weapons are all pretty much the same, and that the S-Tac isn't really more or less like the Intervention or the MSR. So basically, to quickly run down, they all do the exact same damage. The S-Tac fires slower than both of them. They all have the exact same reload style, which means they don't do individual shots. They all reload at pretty much the exact same time. The S-Tac has a bigger magazine than both of the other rifles. The S-Tac has less idle sway than the other rifles, and it also has a faster center speed than the Intervention or the MSR. Just all in all, my final conclusion on this weapon, as somebody who doesn't have it, but does have the legendary prerequisite, so it's kind of close to getting it, I suppose. I imagine I may be able to get it by the end of the week. My final conclusion is it's a very good bolt action sniper. I don't think it would be too big of a stretch to make an argument that this could be the best bolt action sniper in this game. The M40A3 does less damage than this. The M40 really struggles against Juggernaut, whereas this gun does not. I kind of picture it as an in-between of the M40 and the R700. It does more damage than the M40A3, but has better handling characteristics than the R700, all the while with a 7-round magazine, more base ammo by default, still has the ACOG quirk that the M40 does. The only downside is it fires slightly slower, and when compared to the M40, it kicks a little bit more. But that's pretty much it. It's incredibly powerful. If you are able to unlock it, I would recommend it. Give it a try. It's a lot of fun. People seem to really enjoy it. I personally can't wait to get it. I have the most expensive prerequisite to unlock it, so chances are if I keep playing this week, keep utilizing Double Depot credits, I'll be able to unlock it, and I hope I do, because I really do enjoy using the sniper rifle. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have for you guys here in this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Big thank you to Marvel 4 as well as Dramatic Replays for essentially assisting me here with this video. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.